Whoops, hang on one moment, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation, How to Build a Field Trip Permission Slip of Forms. I am your host, Ryan Clancy, and I am the Client Success Associate here at Educational Networks. Now, we're always excited to bring these webinars to you live, so please feel free to ask questions during today's presentation, and I will be happy to answer those questions for you. So why, though, use forms for field trip permission slips? Well, one of the great things about forms is parents and students can turn them in online. So it makes it easier for our families to turn the forms in, but also it makes it easier for us as website administrators and school administrators to be able to organize that paperwork. And what's great is it provides a digital location to manage all that, as we're going to see in just a little bit. You also have options such as the file upload field. So in this case, the possibility is to use it to verify parent or guardian's ID to ensure that a student has permission to participate. And it allows you to accept online payments for field trips as well. So the forms feature does have access to the payment feature on your site. And what's great about it too is it allows you to save time on paperwork and spend more time enjoying the actual field trip. All right, everyone. Let's get started here. What we're going to look at first is an example of a field trip permission slip. So for one, we see all the different fields here. So we, of course, have the standard text-based fields, but also you have a multiple choice field over here for homeroom teacher. So this is to basically allow us to set up notifications for specific staff members. So for example, if a student is in Mr. Smith's class, we could set it up to where Mr. Smith would receive a notification every time one of his students turns the form in, and that notification is sent by email. And that tells him there's a form that he needs to review. We also see over here the file upload field, so parent's government issued ID, and of course the payment field here as well. Now the great thing is about this is that the forms feature allows us many possibilities when it comes to building our field trip permission slip. So as an example, if we go to the Students tab and we select the freshman trip over to the Aerospace Museum, this over here is a great example of that field trip permission slip. So for example, we see student information, parent or guardian's information, the government issued ID request, and of course the payment information as well. And looking at a form like this is a form that would take you anywhere from about 10 to 15 minutes to go ahead and build. Now, it's not only how easy it is to build a form that makes the form feature so great to be able to use for field trip permission slips, but it's also how easy it is for us to manage those particular permission slips. So if we go over to our admin page and we log in and we select the Forms feature. Just a moment, and there we go. One thing that it allows us to do is it allows us to take all of the form submissions and take them digital. So all these forms are stored in a central digital location, and we can click on any of these entries right here, and we can view the information that's within it. Also too, not only that, you can print the form out, and you can also export the information from forms out to a Microsoft Excel file, which is excellent. Now the great thing is getting started on our form is very easy. So we're going to build a field trip permission slip for our senior class. Let's say, for example, our senior class is planning a trip to a local amusement park. So this is going to be named Senior Class Trip to Throwborough. Next, we need to go ahead and put in a description for this form. So we put in join us at the largest theme park in the world to celebrate your upcoming graduation. And then we can also use this to put some policy information too. all attendees must be classified as seniors to participate. Perfect. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and decide who we want to be in charge of this particular form. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, for the purposes of this webinar, I'm going to designate myself to be a manager. You even get to decide what's going to happen after the form is submitted. So in this case, we are going to show a confirmation message. It's going to say, thank you for your submission. All questions should be directed to the senior class director, Mr. Clancy. Perfect. Now, our final step here before we get to actually start building our form is to choose our options. So in this case, we want to use spam protection. We also want to enable credit card charges. And it's going to ask us to put in the amount. So in this case, we'll say it's going to be $45. Perfect. What we do next is we click Save. And what that's going to do, whoops, hang on one moment, is that's going to go ahead and bring us over to our form editor. So we're going to start by building an area for student information. So I'm going to start with the student's first name. I click, drag, and drop. Then what I do is I click on this again, and I can change the question. So it's going to be student's first name. And I'm going to check this box here to make this a required field. Whoops, that's okay. Next, we're going to add a field for student's last name. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. Click on this again and change this here to student's last name. I'm going to make this also a required field. So we have student's first name, student's last name. Let's go ahead and ask them their student ID number. So for this, we're going to use the single line text again. I'm going to drag and drop it down. I'm going to change this here to student ID number. Now, something you could do is verify that this is in fact in the form of a number, so it's only having numbers. So we go ahead, click that, put that in there. We check this box, and we click Update. All right. The last area that we are going to ask for student information is who their homeroom teacher is. So for that, we have a few options for multiple choice questions. And in this case, we're going to use the radio button here, kind of the traditional multiple choice question. So we're going to type in homeroom teacher. We're going to type in Clancy Smith. And we'll just leave it as that there. And we're going to make that also a required field. Perfect. So we have our area here all set to go for student information. And what we need to do now is add a section header. So for this, what I do is I click, drag, and drop. I'm going to click on this again, and I'm going to change this here to student information. I'm going to click Update. Perfect. Now we're going to add an area here for parent information. And for this, what I'm going to use is I'm going to also use a section header. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. I'm going to title this here, Parent or Guardian, information. All right. So in this case, we're going to get another single line text field. And this is going to be parent or guardian's first name. Make that a required field there. Whoops. This next one here is going to be parent or guardian's last name. Now what we're going to do is we're going to ask for some contact information from the parents. So in this case, we're going to ask for a phone number. Now a phone number is not available here, so we're going to use a single line text. I'm going to click on this again. I'm going to change this here to parent or guardian's phone number. I'm going to click on this here, and I'm going to make it so it validates that it's in the format of a phone number. And I'm going to click Update. We're also going to add parent or guardian's email address. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. I'm going to click on this here, changes to parent or guardian's email. Now I'm going to check this box here to make it a required field. Perfect. The last area that we're going to add for parent or guardians is going to be a place for them to upload documentation, basically to show that they approve that their students are going on this trip. So we're going to use the file attachment for this. So we're going to use for this, and we're going to say parent or guardians government issue ID. I'm going to make this required and click Update. So we have our area for parent information here, or for student information, parent information. Now we're going to add an area here for payment information. And what I do for this is I click, drag, and drop, and all that's going to be all set to go. There's nothing more that we need to do for that. The last area that we are going to add is going to be just a little note. It's going to say this. It's just going to say something that says, by submitting this form, I am authorizing my student to participate in this field trip. Perfect. And then I'm going to click on this. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and click Update. And it's going to appear in yellow just like this here. So it'll help to grab our viewers' attention. Now the form's all set to go, so all we need to do is just click Save. And what's great is we now even have the opportunity to preview what the form is going to look like. So I can select this, and we can view the area here for student information, parent or guardian information, and payment information as well. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and review. So as we've seen here today, everyone, Forms is great for field trip permission slips because it's easy for parents and students to turn in online. As we talked about a little bit earlier, you can even set up notifications to let staff members know when there is a form turned into them. And using file uploads allows you to, as an option, verify parent or guardian's ID. And you can also accept online payments for field trip fees. All right, everyone, at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And as we're waiting for those questions to roll in, I'm going to show you how you would add this form over to your navigation menu. Now, recently, something we've been very excited about, we have recently launched our new navigation menu module. So what I do is I click on this, and what I need to do here is I need to decide where I want this particular form to go. So we'll say that it's going to go underneath the About Us tab, or actually we can put it underneath the Parents tab. So what we'll do here is we want to find where we would put this, so we'll put it underneath the School Year Application. I click on the arrow, and I'm going to click Add Link Below. Now, one of the things that makes this really, really easy is to add the page on there. All we need to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and click on this here where it says Find Page. And then you can go to this drop-down menu, and you can select the senior class trip. Here it is. And all this is filled in for us. We can click Save. We click. You always want to test your changes before you click apply. And if we go over here to the Parents tab, we're able to see our senior class trip to Thrill World. So definitely something very cool. And then to finalize those changes, all we need to do is just click apply. All right, looks like we have a great question here. And the question is, are there plans to add a Freeform text box to collect signatures? And that's a great question. I haven't heard anything in particular about that. I know sometimes what with online forms, a lot of times they'll have people type in their name as a signature. I would recommend, of course, before doing that, checking to see what your district policies would be in regards to that, just to ensure that would be something that they would accept, of course, as a signature for that. But definitely a great question. All right, everyone. Also, too, let me know if you have any other questions. Just one quick tip. Remember that before you're one thing you want to do before you set up this form is connect either an existing merchant account that's compatible with PayPal Payflow Pro, or you can actually set up a Stripe account right within the website here. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all so much for joining us here today for our presentation on going ahead and building field trip permission slips with forms. I want to give you a link over to our webinar schedule. And the reason is that if you're interested in any of our webinars, go ahead and register for them. And by doing so, that lets me know who to send a guide, basically all the slides that we had gone through, who to send that over to, and also who to send a recording of today's presentation to as well. All right, everyone. Well, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy days to join us here. And as always, we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Take care, everybody.